Hello everybody! Welcome back. It's been a while since I've seen you. So, a lot has happened. First of all, our build is almost complete. We have been grinding out some upgrades. As you can see, almost every slot has some endgame item equipped in it. We are also level 100, hell yeah! And, more importantly, we are now 40 out of 40 challenges complete. Now, we have accomplished what we set out to do, which is of course start an account from scratch and beat 40 challenges. We'll do a quick slash blade here. It took me roughly 6 days to get all 40 of these challenges done, and I basically want to walk you through why you should do these challenges, and also how to best do them if you decide you want to go all the way and get 40 out of 40. So let's start real simple. Why should you do these challenges? Are they fun? They're just kind of grindy, a little checklist for you to do. But they come with cool rewards at different milestones. Okay, so you can see that you get the first one at 12 challenges, and then you get one at 24, and then 32, 34, 36, and it finishes at 40 out of 40. So let me show you the rewards that we got from doing the challenges in the Settlers of Kalgor League. I'll scroll in over here. The first one is a Rune Bind weapon effect. This is what my wand looks like on its own. If I click the Rune Bind weapon effect, now you've got some cool runes on it. Alright, this looks a lot better with a melee weapon like a sword or an axe or something, but it looks pretty cool on a wand as well. Fun fact, if you equip a shield, this will also work for the shield. So I'm going to go to shield and show you guys real quick. Alright, so I've got myself a shield. You can see that the weapon effect also applies to the shield. The shield normally would not look so blue and shiny. Right, so very cool. I love this weapon effect. I highly recommend that you at least do 12 challenges and get your hands on it. I'll put my wand back before I misplace it. Okay, so that was the Rune Bind weapon effect. Let's have a look at the next one. You unlock this at 24 challenges. This is the Rune character effect, so I will go here and I'll equip it. This one I'm not the biggest fan of. It puts this large runic thing on above your head. Now, I think it looks really nice. The problem is it kind of obstructs your vision, confuses you. If there's a lot going on, like you're juicing pack size in your maps, and you see this behind you, you might get a little caught off guard or scared. So for that reason, I'm out. For that reason, I have this disabled. So, yeah, 24 challenges, that's what you get. Now, the next one I think is super cool. This is at 32 challenges, you get the Kalgoran Cloak. So let's go ahead and put this one on. It's a back attachment. So this is a very simple black or grayish cloak, and it has this really cool rune effect engraved into it. It goes well with a lot of outfits. I really like it. I have this in my main. It's probably the main reason I played this much into the league. And it's not too hard to get. 32 challenges is really, it's still pretty easy, right? You just need to put a couple hours into the game. So that is the cloak effect. Very nice. The next one is the Versium Knight Unique Finisher effect. Now, I can't show you this in my hideout. You put it in your second weapon effect over here. So I'm going to go find a unique monster so I can show you what this looks like. Okay, so we found ourselves a unique monster. I don't want to be too zoomed in for this. I'm just going to attack him with my wand, and you can see the effect. Alright, so there it is. A giant Versium Knight comes out, and then he slices the mob, and that is the finisher effect. Alright, very nice. I love it. It sounds really cool. It's just satisfying. Definitely something worth getting if you want to go deeper into the Challenge League. Now, after the Versium Knight Unique Finisher effect, we get the King's March Portal effect. So this is what your portal looks like normally. You guys know that. Let me go ahead and put on the King's March Portal. So once you have this on, I'll zoom in a bit. Yeah, so it's got this really cool opener effect, right? Opening animation. And then it also is a very nice looking portal. So let's go in here. I will say that it doesn't look as good on your map device as it does as a single portal. So I will show you what it looks like on the map device as well, just so you can see, decide if this is for you. So I'll load it into the map over here. Right, cool animation, but then it ends up clipping into itself because the portal is so large. So for that reason, it's a little hit or miss. I like it as a single. I don't really like it on the map device. So that was all of the microtransactions that you get for doing the challenges. The last thing, if you go all the way and get 40 out of 40, you get this little totem pole all the way to the top. So it starts at the bottom, and then you unlock little pieces as you complete more challenges, and for doing 40 out of 40, you get the full totem pole with the bird on top. Right, this one is a very simple, clean looking one compared to the other leagues, and I really like it, so I got it. So that is all of the microtransactions and rewards you get from the Settlers of Kalgor 4040 challenges. Okay, so for the next part of this video, we're going to talk about each of these challenges one by one, and I'm going to talk to you about what I did and what I think you could do better so you can get these done faster than I did. And remember that it took me about 120 hours to do this without purchasing any carries or help from anybody else. So, let's talk about these challenges. First up, we have Beginner's Basics. Okay, equip a magic flask. I have one here. Equip it. Okay, take an orb of alchemy and this alchemy item. Right, and that will be that complete. Kill a rare monster. You're going to do this if you're playing the game, and fully clear the fetid pool. That is, of course, in Act 1. You go to the coast, you go into the mudflats, and there's a side area there called the fetid pool. And you just full clear it. Right, it's a side quest. You'll get it done. Very nice, very easy. The next one is called Starting Settlements. Okay, this one, enter Kingsmarch. Done, then hire 3 workers. You do that at Rolf. So you go over here, town recruitment, hire some people. Alright, that's 3 workers. Have at least 1,000 gold in Kingsmarch treasury. That's manage town. Make sure this number here is above 1,000. And establish Kingsmarch jobs 4 out of 4. That just means you have to build at least 4 stations. So here we have the smelter. Here's the runecrafter guy. And then, of course, we have shipping, disenchanting, and all the other stuff over there, right? Those are what they refer to as Kingsmarch jobs. All right, you'll do this if you're interacting with the League mechanic whatsoever. All right, next up we have Peddler's Produce. So for this, I'm going to have to go gather some items before I can show you what to do here. So I'll be back in just a second. Okay, we're back. So for this, you have to make a resistance ring. That is 1 iron ring plus any skill gem of any color. That will give you the respective resistance ring. So in this case, we're getting a sapphire ring. That's part 1. The next one is to make a 2-stat amulet. So just take 2 1-stat amulets and an orb of transmutation. And that will give you the 2-stat variant of the amulet. So that is done. The next one is an onyx amulet. Take a coral amulet, or sorry, just take any amulet and then put 1 gem of every color, and that will give you an onyx amulet. Alright, the last part of this challenge is to make 10% move speed boots. Take any normal boots, take a quicksilver flask, and use 1 orb of augmentation. That will give you the 10% increased movement speed boots from the vendor. Now, I'm not going to click accept here because this flask is very expensive, but you get the idea. So that is Peddler's Produce complete. Next up, we have Act Adversaries. This one's pretty straightforward. Beat the first half of the campaign. Alright, finish Act 5, and you will get Act Adversaries I complete. Antagonistic Acts. This one is something you will do while you're in the campaign. Alright, the Dweller of the Deep side quest is an essence monster. Legion is something you encounter in the Climb in Act 1. That's over here. Then open a strongbox. This is something you'll start seeing as early as the lower prison in Act 1. And complete a ritual. This is something you'll first see in Act 2 in the Northern Forest, okay? So you'll beat this, you know, in the first 2 hours of the game probably. So antagonistic acts, that's complete. Next we have Basic Beginnings. I believe this is a Kingsmarch related challenge, so let's go to Kingsmarch. Okay, so complete a shipment. You do that using Tujin and the shipment station over here. Just go to shipping, you know, click a port, select port, send some stuff with it, let's say like 5 Erisium, and then, yeah, just set sail, send, and when it comes back, you will have complete a shipment done. Have a total of any bar at 1,000 in your stockpile. You do that through the smelter, so just have some workers in your smelter here, and you'll get some bars. Have a total of any crop at 1,000, so we'll go to the crop over here, farming plot, manage workers. I guess I can't see how much crops I have. Oh yeah, it says it right here. Total amount, 250,000, right? Set up some farmers, get some crops, and you will have that done. Alright, the next one has to do with a disenchanter. This is Rog, you need to set this up. He basically disenchants rares and uniques and gives you arcane dust or something. Is that what it's called? Thaumaturgic dust, okay? So here's a rare, you put it into the disenchanter, and after a certain amount of time, it will disenchant for dust. That will give you this part of the challenge complete. And then, of course, use any runesmithing craft. This is with the runesmithing table over here. Just put in one of your weapons. It has to be a non-unique. You can only enchant or runesmith on non-unique weapons. And then put the cheapest one you have runes for. Okay, and if you don't have runes yet, you acquire this through the shipping mechanic over here with the Tujin. Or you can, of course, buy it off of other players. They're not very hard to find, as long as they're the cheaper ones, of course. So that is Basic Beginnings complete. Next up, we have Act Adversaries II. This is beat the campaign, right? Kill Katava in Act 10, and you will have Act Adversaries II complete. Next one is Powerful Prey. So this is another side quest thing related to the campaign. I'll show you where each of these things are. The first one is the Den in Act 2. This is the Great White Beast. Then we have Sever the Right Hand. This one's actually not an optional quest. This is one of the main quest lines in Act 3. So that happens in the Ebony Barracks when you kill Gravicius. Okay? Then you have the Gemling Legion. I believe this is Act 8. Gemling Legion is in the Grain Gate. So there's a bunch of mobs here that you need to kill for a passive skill point. Do that and you will have this quest complete. And then Fastest Fortuna, this is in Act 9, so we go over here. It's in the Foothills. It's some weird centaur or bull-looking thing. Just kill it, pick up its drop, the Calendar of Fortune, and then turn it in for the passive refund points, and you'll have Fastest Fortuna complete. So that will be Powerful Prey done. Then we have Atlas Augmentations. This is just running a bunch of basic mechanics that have a random chance to occur on your Atlas. Even if you don't spec into any of these mechanics, you will naturally find strongboxes, shrines, essences, and of course rogue exiles for you to kill on your adventures. So this is something that will complete organically while you play the game. Alright, next one is Meaningful Mechanics. Complete any 4 of the following league mechanics. For this, I recommend that you do Breaches, Abysses whenever you see them. Abyss starts showing up as early as Act 6. Breach starts showing up as early as Act 2. Smuggler's Cache also starts showing up in Act 6. This has to do with the heist mechanic in the Rogue Arbor. It's just a chest. Click on it. Click on 30 chests and you will get this part of the challenge complete. Pass through Mirrors of Delirium. This appears as early as in Act 5. Just walk through the Mirrors of Delirium and, walk through 30 of them. This one will be complete. You don't have to worry about these other things, like you can see that expeditions you kind of have to go out of your way to do, legions, all this stuff, right? The easiest ones to do, in my opinion, are Breach, Abyss, Smuggler's Cache, and Pass Through the Delirium Mirrors. So that's Meaningful Mechanics done. Next up, we have Proven Professionals. So for this, you have to do Master Missions, okay? You can see here that I didn't do a lot of bestiary. So Einhar is the beast guy that appears in Act 2. Alva is the incursion lady that appears in Act 7. And then Nico appears in Act 4, and Jun appears in Act 9. So Betrayal is a really easy way to make money right now, this late into the league, so that's why I picked Jun missions. Just do Betrayal, farm Katarina, farm safe houses, you'll get this done, and you'll make a lot of money doing it. Nico missions, this one, just click on Sulfite whenever you see it in your maps, and if for some reason you are struggling to find Sulfites organically, there are scarabs for these masters, so let me type in Sulfite Scarab. So if you use this in your map, it'll make Nico spawn, and then just click on the Sulfite nodes. So just 30 Scarabs, and you'll be done with this challenge. And the same thing applies for Betrayal. Let me see if I have a Betrayal Scarab here. Okay, I don't have a Betrayal Scarab in my stash, but if you go to the currency exchange over here, the Betrayal Scarab over here forces your maps to have Jun. So you don't even need to get any of these nodes on your Atlas tree for Jun. You can just use the Scarab. They're very cheap, and you can get that done quickly if you don't want to farm Katarina. So that is Proven Professionals complete. Next, we have Refined Reagents. This is just more Kingsmarch stuff. It just wants you to have an assortment of resources from Kingsmarch, right? So you've got wheat, corn, pumpkin, orchard, blue xanthemum. That's all from farming. Then you got your bars and your ores. And then, of course, you have the Thaumaturgic Dust, which I just showed you. You get from the Disenchanter. So that one's very easy. If you're engaging with the mechanic, you will complete this very quickly. Okay, crafting currency, you're basically going to use a bunch of different currency on items. So these are all just basic currency items. The biggest one here, I would say, is the Divine Orb. That is, of course, expensive. If you are just wasting a Divine on something to do this challenge, I would advise you to hold off until you need it for a multi-mod. So you can see here that my gear can have up to 3 crafted modifiers. This is something you get from the Benchcraft. So if I go over here and say crafted modifiers, you'll see here that a suffix for 2 divines, I can craft this onto my gear. And that will count as one of the divines for this challenge. That's how I got mine, okay? So that is Crafty Currency. Then we have Overwhelming Opposition. Do some endgame maps. Kill 500 map bosses, alright? Easy. This will naturally complete as long as you're engaging with the end game. Potent Pantheon. So if you press Y after you get to Act 6, you will open up the Pantheon page. This challenge has you upgrade your Pantheons. So there are major Pantheons and there are minor Pantheons. The minor ones have 1 upgrade, the major ones have 3 upgrades. You can see here that my Soul of Solaris has 3 upgrades from Kitava, Gorgon, and Joris. Alright, to upgrade this, you basically need one of these items called a Divine Vessel. You will find this while mapping, Or if you don't, you can always buy it from Faustus over here, right? This guy sells it from other players. They're not very expensive. You can get 2 of these for 1 chaos. Okay, so this is my beach map. This is Glace for the Soul of the Brine King. And then you put in your Divine Vessel. And then let's go do it. So I'll see you at the boss in just a few seconds. Okay, we are now at the boss. Let's go kill him. Oh, I don't even have my ability. Why isn't my ability working? Game, please. Okay, I had it turned off for the other footage, so... There we go. So there is the boss dead. Now if I go back to town, our Divine Vessel should be full. There it is, Captured Soul of Glace. You just take out this Divine Vessel and then you use it, and you'll see that your Pantheon has now been upgraded. So do that 3 times for the Major and do it once for the Minor, and then you will have this challenge complete. I'm gonna go kill Barn real quick and I'll be right back. Haha, no shot, dude. Okay, I'll go pick that up. That's nice little wealth over there. And I'll see you guys back in town. Alright, next up we have Unbelievable Undertaking. So this one actually takes a little bit of effort to do. For my 4, I did Breachstones, Abyssal Depths, Tier 4 Harvest Seeds, and Trial Master Fights, because these had Scarabs. So Breachstones is something you're going to need to do with Maven Influence to unlock your Atlas anyways. So you can see here the Maven's Invitation, the Hidden, that would require 4 Breachstones, and then you need the 5th one, Chayula, to do Feared. Okay, so I have a Chayula Breachstone here. Might as well just run it with you guys because I need it influenced for my Feared anyways. So I will see you at the end of Chayula. Okay, so we're at Chayula. I'm just gonna kill her real quick. Alright, very nice. Chayula is dead. Let's go back to town. So that would have been an example of you doing a Breachstone. So for any of you that don't know what a Breachstone is, real quick, whenever you do the Breach mechanic, you might find splinters. So let's see right here, you can see Splinter of Zoth, Tool, Esh, Ul, Natal, and Chayula. Get 100 of these and that forms a Breachstone. So you can see Zoth's Breachstone, Tull's Breachstone, and so on and so forth. Alright, you put this into your map device, and then you can run it, and that is what a Breachstone is. Okay, so the next one we did is Tier 4 Harvest Seeds. So for this one, there's a Scarab. If you go to Faustus, and you type in Harvest, you'll see that there's something here called Harvest Scarab of Cornucopia. If area contains the Sacred Grove, it'll contain up to 1 additional Tier 4 seed of each type, if possible. Can I show you how this works? Sure, it's going to cost me the price of the Scarab, so let me just go set that up real quick. Okay, so the Harvest Scarab of Cornucopia is going to cost me 50 Chaos for just 1, so I'm going to go ahead and buy it. And then we're going to put our map into this device. I'm pretty sure my gold farm strat involves Harvest. I'll just double check that real quick, guys. Bear with me for just a second. And then you're going to put in your Harvest Scarab and then the Harvest Scarab of Cornucopia. And then we're going to go ahead and run this. So I will see you at the Harvest mechanic. Okay, so we're here at the Sacred Grove. So this is the Harvest mechanic for any of you that are unfamiliar. And you'll notice that the text over here has a different color. So the gray one is normal monsters, and then you got white, which is like harder normal monsters, maybe magic. Then you have this blue text, which is usually magic packs or rare monsters. So the boss one that you're looking for, that we got using the Scarab, is Ursi, Mother of Thorns for this purple one. That's in a unique text. So go ahead, click this, and then we'll do a little harvest fight, and that will be one of the tier 4 seeds complete. Okay, so you're going to want to do this a total of 5 times, and if you use 1 Scarab of the Cornucopia, and your map has 1 plant of every color, you'll be able to get 3 bosses done from that 1 Scarab, okay? So expect this to cost around, I want to say, 100 Chaos, as long as your luck is average. Okay, there's the boss dead, and then you'll see that if we go to these ones over here, there's another one for Ursi, interestingly enough. There's one for this blue one, Jonar the Omen, and there should be one for the yellow over here. So I'm going to go do all of these, and then I will see you in my hideout in just a second. Okay, so we're back at the hideout. So that was the tier 4 Harvest Seeds. The next one I recommend that you do for this is Trial Master Fights, because there's a Scarab for this. So go to the Currency Exchange. Here you're going to look for the Ultimatum Scarabs. So let me type that in. Go ahead, buy yourself 1 Ultimatum Scarab, and then buy 1 Ultimatum Scarab of Dealing. If you successfully complete the Ultimatum, this will lead to the unique boss. So you're going to need a total of 3 of these to do the challenge. It shouldn't be too expensive. So it is roughly 35 Chaos per. Maybe a little bit cheaper. It seems like the stock is quite low, but I'm just going to pay 35C. Just to demonstrate what it looks like. And of course I had one in my stash, so silly me, I wasted 35C for nothing. That's okay, so go ahead, take the Ultimatum Scarab, take the Ultimatum Scarab of Dealing, and then you're going to get a map. What map can we run here? We can run a lookout map. You don't need any mods on this map, honestly. Ultimatum doesn't scale with map modifiers, I don't think, but don't quote me on that. So I'm going to put this here. We're going to, oh, okay, I should have put the Scarabs in. I'm going to go put another map here. And then we're going to put the Scarabs in, and then I will see you for the Ultimatum mechanic in just a second. Okay, so we're here at the Ultimatum altar. So if you've never done this before, you talk to the Trial Master over here. You click on one of these options, and then you begin. So let's go ahead and take Raging Dead. This one is Slay the Attackers. Just slay the attackers and protect the little totem in the middle. That's the life bar of the totem. And every time you finish, you will get an option for another reward, as well as something to make the encounter harder. So pick the least awful one that you think your build can handle, and get all the way to round 10, and because we have the Ultimatum Scarab of Dealing, we should fight the boss at the end of this. So I will see you when the boss is ready to go. Okay, so here we are at 10 out of 10 rounds. When I click the next one, the boss should spawn. And the boss encounter will have all the mods that you put in the Ultimatum encounter while you were doing it. Very simple boss. I mean, I guess it could be hard if you pick some really awful mods, but yeah, simple mod, simple boss. Let's kill him real quick. Oh, he's gonna do another eye phase. And there he is dead. Now we'll just wait for the loot to drop.
And my service continues. Chaos laughs mortal, and fortune is yours.
And we'll go ahead and pick up the loot. So that will be 1 out of 3 complete if you were just doing this for the first time. And just do that 2 more times and you will have that challenge complete. So I will see you back in town in just a second. Alright, for the next one, the easiest one to do, or the fastest one I think, is the Timeless Legion one. So go into Faustus and go ahead and buy yourself 1 of each of these things. The cheaper the better. I don't think you need 5. There's 5 variations you can have. Just pick 4 of the cheapest ones. So let's go ahead and do that super quick. Okay, so I've gone ahead and bought one of the 4 Timeless emblems. So these were the cheapest at the time of making this video. We have the Karui emblem, the Maraketh emblem, the Eternal emblem, and the Vol emblem. And of course, if you guys are unfamiliar with Legion, this is from the Legion mechanic. So if I go to Splinters here, you'll see that we have Karui fragments, Timeless Splinters for each of those little factions, and of course, just like the Breachstones, you get 100 of these. That makes the emblem over here, and then you put the emblems into your map device and you can run the League mechanic related to Legion. So to do this challenge, we need 4 emblems. That will give us an area level of at least level 81, and we have to do this 3 times. So let's go ahead and put it into our map. What the heck? So let's go ahead and put it into our map device. So 1, 2, 3, 4. You click activate. And I'm going to show you how to do the Timeless Conflict super quick. Alright, so it hasn't started yet. You'll see that this area has a bunch of green markers on it. That is the location of the boss monsters that spawn. To start the encounter, go to the middle. Right, you stand in this little pink ring over here, and then you just run around, you kill all the monsters, you kill the boss, and then you go back to the middle to start the next wave. So I'm going to go do that super quick. And as you do this, you'll see that the some of the monsters will have loot emblems over them. You want to find at least 25 of this in the 4 minutes that you have to do this 4-way encounter. So I'm going to go skip through this. I guess I can show you the reset before I go. So this is... who's this guy? Alright, he's dead. So now that all the bosses are dead, you go to the center, you reset, and you rinse and repeat while this timer ticks down. So I'll see you guys in a few minutes. Alright, so we're about to wrap up the Timeless Legion. You'll see at the bottom, that is the reward tiers that we've gotten. That easily clears 25, which is the requirement for this challenge. Oh, we also got a couple of Timeless Jewels. So this is where you get your Timeless Jewels, by the way. People are running 5-way Legion encounters. So I don't think I'm going to pick most of this up. I don't really have the brain power to sift through them. Maybe these incubators and a stack deck, and then I will leave before I change my mind. So that is the Timeless Conflict. So you need 4 emblems. You do that 3 times. Should take you about 15 minutes to do them, because each encounter is 5 minutes. And maybe a divine worth of currency, because each 4-way encounter costs about, I don't know, a third of a divine. Right, so that should be all 4 of these unbelievable undertakings done. So once again, that's Breachstone, Domain of Timeless Conflict, Tier 4 Harvest, and the Trial Master. Now, I did Abyssal Depths because I did Abyss for leveling to 100, but there is no Scarab to guarantee this, so unless you want to grind Abyss out for some reason, I recommend you do the other 4 that I mentioned. So that will be unbelievable undertakings done. Next is Sublime Starlight, so let's go back to King's March. This one's very simple. It's just go and use the runesmithing bench with 1 of every rune. Okay, so there's a different type of rune, and each one is more expensive than the next. You can see here, here's the list. The power rune is like 2 divines per 1 rune. The time rune is, I think, 2 runes for 1 divine, and so on and so forth. So just use this in the runesmithing crafting, and you will get this challenge complete. I think I have some clips of me doing a Tormented Spirit craft on a wand. If I do, I'll play it now. But otherwise, right, you get these runes either from other players or from the shipping mechanic in King's March. So that is how you get Sublime Starlight done. Now, I do remember there being a Reddit thread where someone picks out the cheapest recipes to craft. If I have a link to that, I will post it in the description below. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. That is Sublime Starlight. Achieve Ascension. This one's very straightforward. It's just complete all of the labyrinths. So you'll do the Labyrinth, the Cruel Labyrinth, the Merciless Labyrinth in the campaign, and you'll do the Eternal Labyrinth in the endgame. So remember, like maybe you're lagging behind and just watching this from the campaign. For the Eternal Labyrinth, you need to have an offering of the Goddess, and then you take this to the Aspirants Plaza, and that is your ticket to do the Uber Lab. Alright, so that is Achieve Ascension. Divided Destiny. This one it has to do with divination cards. So to scry a map, you need to find the Nameless Seer in a tier 16 map or above. That one's a little bit RNG. If you don't find a Nameless Seer, don't worry, there's a bunch of different things you can do for this. Open Diviner Strongbox. For this one, either just, run ambush mechanic, like just put strong boxes in your map, and eventually one of them will be a diviner's. Or you can go over here and spec into these passives. Vault of Mysteries. You'll see here that diviner strongbox chance, right? There's a higher percent chance for random strongboxes you find to be the diviner strongbox. And there's also a scarab to help you do this. Let me just go find that real quick. Ambush Scarab of Discernment. So the diviner strongbox is a rare variety. If you use this along with a bunch of ambush scarabs on your map device for your map, you will more than likely find 2 or 3 diviners strongboxes in your map. Okay, so that one's super easy to complete. Turn in sets of divination card. It's very simple, just turn in your div cards, right? There's some really easy ones here. Society's Remorse comes to mind. This one costs, well, it says no stocks, so somebody bought them out. But keep an eye out on trade, or this little grand exchange thing, to see if there's any easy div cards you can trade in. Another one that comes to mind is the Scroll of Wisdom one, the Scholar. Let's see. Okay, so you can see here that I can get 40 Scholars for 1 Chaos, and then it's 40 divided by 3. That'll give you a bunch of these turn-ins complete. So just spend a couple Chaos, buy a bunch of divination cards that are cheap, or if you have picked up your own, turn those in, then this one will be complete. And then the last one is complete rare tier 11 or higher maps with at least 1 divination scarab applied. So you need to complete 25 maps that are T11 or higher, so that's a red map. And the divination scarab that is the cheapest to do this is divination scarab of Plenty. Right, so the cheapest scarab to do this with is divination scarab of Plenty. I don't think this is worth 6 chaos each. I think the supply is just low at the time of making this video. This usually is like 2 to 3 chaos, if I remember correctly. But yeah, buy a bunch of these, run 25 maps, and then you will have Divine Destiny complete. Or, of course, RNG flip to scry a map. The next one is Peddler's Produce 2. So this requires you to get an Orb of Fusing, a Regal Orb, Grasping Mail, and or Lore Weave. So to get an Orb of Fusing from a vendor recipe, you actually have to vendor a 6-link. I really hope I don't press accept here, because that would be tragic. Place into trade. You can see here, if you have a 6 link and you try to vendor it, that'll give you Orb of Fusings. So that is how you do that. Ugh, that was making me anxious. For a Regal Orb, it's basically the Chaos recipe, but you're using eye level 75 items or above. So just run red maps, pick up some rares, and do the Chaos recipe. Grasping Mail or Lore Weave, I did capture this. Just pick up these breach rings while you do your breach related content, and then you trade an inventory full of breach rings for a Grasping Mail. Or you can do the same with the unique rings, and that'll give you a Lore Weave instead. The last thing's a prismatic ring. I need to go look up the recipe real quick, so I'm gonna go do that. Okay, so I'm back after a little bit of town surfing. So here is one of every 2 stone ring. You put this in, and that'll give you the prismatic ring items. Okay, so that's Peddler's Produce number 2. Next is Chaotic Creations. This one I actually saved some items here from. So let's see, I have an Abyss item. I have a Expedition item. I have a Ritual item. I have an Atlas item. And I have a Cluster Jewel, which is a Delirium item. And then we have our Chaos Orbs here. So for this challenge, you're basically getting 1 of each type of these items. 5 of them, right? So Experimented is from Heist, Ritual is from Ritual, Atlas is from Mapping, Abyss is from Abyss, Expedition is the Ward or Runic items, Rogue Equipment is also from Heist, I believe, and then Cluster Jewel is from Delirium, right? And these have to be eye level 83 or higher, so these... this one actually, yeah, no, it's I-85. Okay, so all of these are I-83 or higher. Make them into rares. You can use Orb of Alchemy for that. So let's just, boom, make sure everything is rare. And then you're just going to Chaos Orb each one of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that is going to give you Chaotic Creations complete. Okay, you might need to look up what a Ritual item is if you are unfamiliar with the Ritual mechanic. Same thing with Atlas, right? I know all of these by heart. There's a lot of them, right? There's Steel Ring, Cerulean Ring, Blue Pearl Amulet, Marble Amulet, all of these are Atlas items. Then you have your Abyss Jewels, you have the Stygian Vise, you have the Runic Expedition items, Cluster Jewels for Delirium, and then Ritual is, you know, a whole assortment of items. There's helms, gloves, boots, rings, right? So that is what you're going to do for Chaotic Creations. Cool, next is Gilded Goals, Gilded Goals. This one requires you to have a lot of gold. 250,000, you go over here, here's 250k gold, okay? And you don't need to keep it there in case you are short on money, you can always take it out, you'll still get the challenge complete. Handle it wisely. So that is Gilded Goals. Next is Remarkable Realm. This is part of your Atlas tree progression. It requires you to complete 1 of every map. So, let's see here. All of these except the Vingtar Square and Doriani's Machinarium is very easy to get. Right, some are a little bit harder, like Putrid Cloister is a bit rare on the drop table, but it's still pretty easy to get. So I have some tips for you for this challenge. You can go to the hideout, and then you can go to Faustus, and then you can go to Currency Exchange. If you're looking for unique maps, look for the Singular Scouting Report. You might find this while you're mapping. This currently costs 3 chaos each, and what it's going to do is it's going to re-roll your Keurig missions, so Atlas mission, and it's going to force spawn 1 unique map in each of these tabs. So make sure you have at least 1 Keurig mission for normal, 1 Keurig mission for yellow, and 1 Keurig mission for red, because then you'll have 3 unique maps that you can check to see if you've completed or not. Alright, so that's how I did my Remarkable Realms. So I do have a clip of me doing the Vingtar Square and Doriani's Machinarium. Doriani's comes from the Delve mechanic, so this is a little bit... Right, if you've never done Delve or you don't like Delve and you don't want to do Delve, you need to buy it from another player, because these items come from the Vol Outpost over here. Sometimes you get a boss node, and that boss has an RNG chance to drop Doriani's Machinarium unique map. These are pretty expensive at this point in the league, just because not a lot of people are running them, and a lot of people want to do the challenge. So I think last I checked, this map costs like 16 divines or something stupid, right? The earlier you do that challenge in a league, the cheaper it is. So buy it off someone if you have the money, otherwise... go farm Delve. Alright, the Vingtar Square is you turning in the Agnord staffs. That'll give you the Vingtar Square map, and then you just put it in and run it. That's really cheap. This one has a div card for it. I'll show you the div card real quick. Should be the Storm Caller. Alright, this will give you an Agnord staff. So this costs, well, it says no stock, so I don't know, buy it off trade or just run a bunch of Strand and you will find this just as you play. Now, there is a pro tip here for the Doriani's Machinarium if you really don't want to run Delve and you really don't want to pay someone 16 Divines. So you can get the Scouting Report for... You can get the Comprehensive Scouting Report. Now, these are a little bit expensive, but they're also not that hard to find as long as you have these nodes equipped. So I'm going to show you this node right here. It's in the bottom left side of the tree, Planar Tactician. 20% chance for scouting reports to drop as comprehensive scouting reports instead. So this is how I found mine, and then you're going to use the scouting reports on your Atlas missions, and there's a small chance that you find Doriani's Machinarium in this tab. That's how I got mine, so hopefully I show that in the clip. So you can actually do this challenge without paying someone an arm and a leg, or delve if you are clever about it. So that is Remarkable Realms complete. And then we have Sanctified Scarabs. Run Scarabs while you map. Very simple, very straightforward. Then we have Gleaming Gems, level gems to level 20. If you're playing the game in endgame, you will get all your gems to level 20 by the time you were, I think, 91 or 92. So go ahead and do that. Use Gem Cutter's Prisms. If you haven't found enough, just buy them and use them on your gems. Use 40 of them, and you will get this part of the challenge complete. Turn in a divination card set that rewards a 21 or 23 gem. For this, I recommend, let's see, currency exchange. I think it's called the Wilted Rose. So this gives you a level 21 aura gem, and it's very inexpensive. You can buy 7 of them for, I want to say, like, what? 6 chaos, 7 chaos, something like that. So go ahead, buy yourself a set of these, turn them in, and that will get this part of the challenge complete. And lastly, use the Divine Font in the Endgame Labyrinth. This requires you doing Uber Lab at least 5 times, because each Uber Lab gives you 2 uses of the Divine Font. I did this when I was looking for Ice Nova of Frostbolts, so if you don't like Lab, well, you only need to do it 5 times. So yeah, do Uber Lab, get Gleaming Gems complete. Okay, next up is Cross Contamination. So this one I'm going to have to think about a little bit. So let's see here. Okay, let's do the first one together. Defeat a Harbinger while you are in a breach. So for this, let me see if I have any Harbinger Scarabs in my inventory. And then pick a claustrophobic map. Like, pick a map that has a low square area. So something like Glacier is a pretty good map for this, I think. I don't really feel like putting mods on this, so I'm just going to scour this map and just run it. Okay, so here are Scarabs, 2 Harbinger Scarabs, 3 Breach Scarabs, and then if you really want to be extra, you can put on a Breach Benchcraft. I have a free one over here, let's put it in. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to find the Harbinger mob. So you can see I have some here. You're going to bring it to low life, okay? They have a couple eye faces that they go through. So bring it to low life. Alright, that should be good enough. And then open the breach, and then start killing the Harbinger while you're in the breach. And that should prop the challenge. Okay, so that is cross-contamination number 1. I'm gonna go complete the rest of this map, and then we will do the next part. So I'll see you in a few minutes. Okay, the map has been complete. The next one also requires Breach, so go ahead and grab yourself even more Breach Scarabs. Let's see here. Let's take 3 Breach Scarabs, and then you're going to need some Domination Scarabs, because we're going to want to put some shrines on the map. So let's get this, 1 Domination Scarab. And then the last Scarab you need is Scarab of the Lordship. This makes it so that breaches contain a Breach Lord. That's a unique monster that spawns. So, okay, I'm going to sacrifice another Glacier here. Let's go ahead and do that. So we'll put the map in, we'll put in 3 Breach Scarabs, and then we'll put in Breach Scarab of the Lordship, and then a Domination. We don't need to use the map device craft on this one. So this requires you to defeat the Breach Lord while affected by a shrine. So before you hit any of the breaches, just go look for a shrine. Let's go do that super quick. Okay, so I clicked a shrine. Now you run back to the breach, or run forward, whatever the case, you trigger it. And now you wait for the Breach Lord to spawn. So let's wait. Okay, there's the Breach Lord. It shows up as a minimap icon, and he's dead. And that should have ticked your challenge. Once again, I'm going to go defeat the map boss, and then I'll see you for the next part of this challenge. Okay, the next one we're going to do is defeat a Blight boss while delirious. So this one's pretty easy to do as long as you have a Scarab. So let's look at the Blight Scarabs here. We're going to need a normal Blight Scarab, and then we're going to want Blight Scarab of the Blooming. So that makes it so that the Blight encounter has unique bosses. So hopefully this doesn't cost too much. 34 Chaos, okay, that's, I mean, it's not that bad for a challenge. So go ahead, buy yourself one of these Blooming Scarabs. Just one, please. And then I'll check my stash to see if I have a normal Blight Scarab. Alright, I do. I also had the Blooming Scarab, so I'm just like throwing money down the drain here, but that's okay. It's completely fine. Put your Scarabs in, so we've got Blight Scarab that gives us the Blight encounter, Blight Scarab of Blooming that gives us the unique bosses. The next thing you're going to need to do is get yourself a Delirium Orb. So let's see here. Currency Exchange, Delirium Orb, and try to find the cheapest one. In the past, that's been the Blacksmith Delirium Orb for me. Maybe the other ones are cheaper. I don't know. You're going to have to look. Alright, take this and then pick a map. In this case, we will do the Lookout map. And once again, I will scour it because I don't really feel like dealing with map mods. Okay, you're going to use the Delirium Orb onto the map. This is going to make sure that your map is delirious and that you are under the Delirium effect. Alright, put this into your map. Put on the Blight Scarabs. And then let's go do this challenge. So I'll see you at the Blight encounter. Okay, so I've found Cassia. I'm going to go and activate the Ichor Pump. And you can see here that these lanes will have bosses when I start them. So, yeah, just hang out with me while we wait for the bosses to spawn. I don't think I'm going to bother setting up any towers, since all of them are coming from one direction. Okay, and there's the challenge. I hope you enjoyed that slideshow. This is why I've been dragging my feet on making the Mechanics in Minutes Blight video, because I can't play the game with Blight. It's just really bad, poorly optimized. I like the mechanic, I just can't run it. Alright, let's get this loot, and then I will kill the boss in this map, and then I'll see you back in the hideout. Okay, so we're back in the hideout now, so that should have been 3 out of the 4 things complete. We did the Harbinger in a breach, we did a Breach Lord while affected by a shrine, we defeated a Blight boss while delirious, and I think the next one that is the most easiest to do is defeat a Syndicate member that is possessed. So for this, go ahead and get yourself some Betrayal Scarabs. So just one should be fine, but if you get unlucky, you might need more than one. I'm always out of Chaos, it seems, so let me go ahead and get more Chaos. Okay, there's the Betrayal Scarab, and then you're going to look for Torment Scarabs. So type in Torment over here, right, and go ahead and buy yourself 2 of these. And then if you have any more room for Scarabs, go ahead and get Torment Scarab of Possession. You can get 2 of these as well. Alright, and what we're going to do is we're going to run a map. Let's see, I'm going to scour this as well. Okay, so you're going to put in your map, you're going to put in the Jun Scarab, Betrayal Scarab, and then you're going to take 2 of these Torment Scarabs and put them in as well. What this is going to do is it's going to make your map have Tormented Spirits. You can also put the map device for Torment over here. And let's click OK. So what you're going to do is you're going to spawn a Betrayal mechanic, and then you're going to find a ghost and let the ghost haunt the Betrayal enemy. So let's go do that real quick. Okay, so fun fact, my Betrayal encounter didn't spawn because I had my safe houses ready to go, and if you have your safe houses ready to go, Betrayal doesn't work even if you put in the Scarab. So I'm gonna go clean out my safe house real quick, and then we're gonna basically pretend the last few minutes didn't happen. Okay, there it is. So the intervention mechanic spawned, and there was a ghost near the unique monster when it spawned, and now he has a ghost in him, and that should get your challenge complete. Alright, this one took a couple of tries because there was a couple of technical difficulties. The first time I ran it, I had my safe houses up, so the Betrayal mechanic didn't spawn even though I used a Scarab. And the second time, the ghost didn't spawn, so yeah, that was annoying to record, but defeat a Syndicate member that is possessed, done. So that is Contamination complete. Next up, we have Ambitious Assignments. I'm just going to finish this map real quick, and I'll see you in town then. Okay, so we're back in King's March. So Ambitious Assignments, this one is just doing a bunch of grindy stuff in the town. Have at least 10,000 blue xanthium. This one's done through Sonia and your farm. Versium bars, this one you have to do a lot of endgame maps to get Versium ore, and then you just smelt them into bars. Complete port quotas, this one was actually quite annoying, so talk to Tujin over here, and it looks like one of our shipments arrived, so might as well take them. If you hover over the ports here, you'll see that the port has favorite resources, usually in groups of 3, sometimes 2. You have to complete all of these to get a quota completed. So you'll see that 150,000 Crimson Iron bar, 22,000 Verisium, 56,000 corn. So I'm pretty sure these are lower the sooner you start doing shipments. So if you're like in the campaign doing port quotas, I believe it's a lot easier to do than late in the game when they ask you for astronomical levels of resources to finish these quotas. The port quotas was actually one of the longest challenges it took me to do on this character. It took me longer than getting to 100, believe it or not. So yeah, start that sooner if you want to do this, because the end game requirements for the quotas are quite ridiculous. Alright, disenchant unique items. This one is done through ROG. Go over here. You need your disenchanter fully leveled up in order to be able to disenchant unique items. So you can see here I have 1 disenchanting. Just do this 30 times and you will get that part complete. Claim rewards from your map successfully completed by your Atlas runners. So you'll have some Atlas devices you can set up here, and you can place maps into this. And you want to set up a mapper team, preferably of at least level 7 mappers. And with level 7 mappers across the board, you'll have a 100% chance to complete a tier 1 map. So I'm going to go to Keurig real quick, and I'm going to find a tier 1 map, and I'll show you what this looks like. Okay, so I have a level 1 map here. You can run it magic, it should be fine. You put this in with level 7 mappers in your map device, and you can see here that there's expected map completion of 100%. And this will complete in about 6 minutes. So just set that on open. This will cost you a lot of gold to run 150 of these, but they're pretty easy. It just takes like a couple of hours if you are consistently turning those maps over. So do this 150 times, you will have this part of the challenge complete. The last part is to use the Recombinator. This one you need to do with item levels that are level 75 or above. Let me go get some items real quick. Okay, so I'm back with some items. I found 2 engraved wands in the previous map that I did. So you need to put in 2 items of the same base type. So in this case, the base type is a wand. All right, any 2 wands, put them in, make sure they're eye level 75 or higher, and then click Recombine. And that's going to make 1 item. And you need to do this a total of 15 times. And then you will be done this part of the challenge. All right, and you can actually use the item you make from the Recombinator in the next recipe, so that will save you some items, which is nice. So that is Ambitious Assignments complete. Okay, next one is Magnificent Mastery. So I'm just going to show you footage of the safe house that I was forced to run a few minutes ago. I recommend doing Betrayal Safe Houses or one of your favorite mechanics in this selection. Safe houses will get you a chance to run Katarina. Katarina will get you a chance to get Veiled Orb, and Veiled Orb is a big money. That's how I made all my money for this character. So I recommend you do Betrayal Safe Houses. And if you are a Betrayal novice, you don't like the mechanic, you don't know the mechanic, it looks confusing as heck, I have a trick for you. Go all the way to the top right corner of your Atlas tree over here, and you'll see a node called Intelligence Gathering. Take this node, and every time you finish a map, you will get 10 intelligence to a random safe house. So let's go over here to Jun in my hideout. So this bar for the safe houses will start to passively fill up as you complete maps, okay? You don't need to interact with the Betrayal board at all. Just do normal maps with those Atlas passives enabled, and you will fill this up naturally. Eventually, after, a couple dozen maps, you will get the option to run a safe house. Just click on that button, run the safe house, and then you will get +1 to this little thing done. So you can do Mastermind safe house farming without ever doing the Betrayal, because if you don't understand how this stuff works, right? This can be very confusing for a lot of players. Alright, next one is Sanctified Scarabs. Complete 75 rare maps with at least 4 scarabs applied, and the map having at least item quantity 80 and tier 16. So for this, you will need a tier 16 map. I'll show you. Okay, so here's a glacier. Very cool. I will scour it, and then you want to put some chisels on it. And then you want to alch it until it has a decent amount of quantity. So this one has 98 quantity. This challenge requires at least 80. So this map would work. So if you have a scarab strategy that you are doing, you can just put in your scarabs and you will passively gain progress towards this challenge. If you are someone who doesn't like using scarabs or is just not quite there yet, look for some really cheap ones. So I mentioned the Sulfite Scarab is a really good one to add to your maps. This costs you 1 chaos per 1 scarab, and then if you take the mining byproducts nodes over here on your Atlas tree, you can actually make money using this method. So that's 1 scarab done. For the other 3 scarabs, I would just recommend speccing into Domination on your Atlas and taking Domination Shrines, because the Domination Scarab is also, well, it was a lot cheaper when I was doing this. It was like 2 chaos per pop, so I would just put in 3 Domination Scarabs, a Sulfite Scarab, run my map, and that would give me progress towards Sanctified Scarabs. Okay? Next one is Arduous Atlas. This is just a lot of mapping, right? Every time you finish a map and that map has modifiers, it'll tick progress towards this challenge. This was like the second or third longest challenge that, for me at least, because I was running strategies where I wasn't doing a lot of maps per hour. Okay, so the more maps you run per hour, the faster this bar fills up and the sooner you will be done this challenge. Okay, next one is a fun one. This is called Monstrous Memories. Okay, so different memories have to do with different masters. So here you have Kirik's memory, here you have Nico's memory, here you have Einhar's memory, and there should be one for Alva as well. So these are interesting. They don't interact with your Atlas in any ways. Instead, what you do is you take the memory and you use it on one of these maps, right? Any one of these tile sets, and that starts a chain of maps for you to run separate from your Atlas. So it doesn't interact with your Atlas passive skills at all, okay? That's really important to know here. It's separate from your Atlas, even though you can see it here, and how you do it is you talk to the master whose memory you used. So for me, that was Alva. I'm just going to find Alva right here. Alva, she is right here. So I'll put her into my hideout, and you'll see that she has an exclamation mark above her head since I'm doing memories. So here you will see Memory of Cascading Fortunes. That's the one I picked. And this one takes us to cells, and you'll see that this particular memory has some very interesting modifiers. So it contains strong boxes. The strong boxes are in a sequence. The strong boxes are also, I believe they share the same modifiers. So if you roll 1, all of them should roll with the same stats. So why did we pick Strongbox? That's because this little challenge requires us to kill rare monsters with at least 3 modifiers in Atlas memories. So it requires you running a lot of these memories and killing the rare monsters with them. Now, if you have a bunch of alterations, maybe some transmutes, and do I have some transmutes? I don't have some transmutes, but I'm just going to use Orb of Chance. Okay, we're going to go into this memory, and I'm going to show you what I was doing to make this challenge go by faster. So give me a few seconds. Oh, and cool thing is you can roll your memories in this little UI over here. So I will alch this. I'll just, put something on it. Can I chisel it? I don't remember if you can chisel it. Let's go find out. Take some chisels, talk to Alva, and chisel. Yeah, you can chisel these too. So there we go. Activate. And then I will see you when we're at the strong boxes in this map. Okay, so I found the first sequence of strong box. There's the monster here. I'm just going to kill it real quick. So what you're going to do is you're going to make this magic. So let's Orb of Chance it. Okay, and you're going to see that it gets a prefix or a suffix. You want to find one that says the strong box has rare monsters in it. So just start spamming your alterations on it. This one, okay, look, menacing. Strong box of abundance, guarded by 3 rare monsters. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click this, and the rare monsters are going to spawn. You'll see that they have 3 modifiers sometimes they won't. So I'm going to go ahead and kill these guys, and then the next strongbox should pop, and these will have 3 rare monsters as well. And then the next strongbox will pop. Well, once I kill these guys over here. And this should spawn 3 rare monsters as well. So just like that, with a few alterations and clever use of which memory you picked, you fought 9 rare monsters, with some of them having 3 modifiers or more. So do this a couple times, follow the chain of memories. There's a bunch of the strong boxes in Alva's memory of cascading, whatever the heck it's called. So that is how I recommend you do this challenge. Otherwise, just plug in any memory you have and just maximize pack size, maximize item quantity, and just blast maps, right? Eventually this will complete, because rare monsters are a dime a dozen. So I'm going to go back to town, and we'll have a look at our next challenge over here. Tremendous Township. This one, I don't even need to go to King's March. Just fully upgrade your King's March, right? Every station, every work, just max it out. This requires a lot of gold, a lot of resources. I think by the time I finished this, I was well into the end game. So yeah, that one is just something you'll do when you get a lot of gold and you can engage with the mechanic. Okay, Agitated Adversaries. This one is interesting. I believe I have some footage here of me doing this challenge. So the 3 that I recommend you do is HIERO in the Empowered Endgame Labyrinth. So that is Uber Lab. So let's go over here, type in Offering. So it is... Right, Uber Lab is one of these 3. So Tribute, Gift, or Dedication. These are much harder than the Uber Lab that you did for your Ascendancy. So make sure your build's in good shape before doing this, because these entry tokens are quite expensive. Put this in, and then you have to fight HIERO without getting hit by the green splash attack. That is called Ornamental Cascade. Just don't get hit by it, be careful, and you will have this part of the challenge complete. The next one is Syndicate Mastermind without taking any damage from the sculpture. So hopefully I have footage for this too. You're basically doing a Katarina fight in I-83 or above. So that is the Betrayal mechanic. And the totem will be in the middle. Whenever she gets to an I phase, the totem will start shooting projectiles out in different directions. It'll be some kind of weird green, swamp green type color. Just don't get hit by anything that has that color effect. Don't get hit by the totem. And you will get the Agitated Adversaries for this part complete as well. This one was quite easy to do. The last one is all. I do have footage for this. This was the last thing I did, and I did it with a friend because we both needed it. So all the Crystal King, this is related to the Delve mechanic. So I guess up till this point you haven't had to delve. If you want to keep following what I did, then you're going to have to delve deep all the way until at least 170 depth. All starts showing up at 150, I believe. What you're going to do is you're going to go into all, you're going to go into the fight. You're purposely going to let him enrage. He has this mechanic where he shoots projectiles at the cocoons in the maps. You want to make sure that all of the cocoons get hit. They will glow a bright color when they are, and then he's going to enrage and start doing a lot of damage. All you have to do then is kill him, and then you will get Agitated Adversaries complete for killing all the Crystal King. I don't know anything about Lycia or Lycia. This is related to the Sanctum mechanic. I've never done Sanctum, so I can't help you there. And King in the Mist is related to Ritual. I also haven't done this fight before. This is relatively new, so I can't help you there. If you would rather try this instead of force yourself to delve, then by all means, do that instead. Alright, next up we have a really expensive challenge. This is called Extravagant Equipment. I'm going to pull up the PoE Ninja prices here, because I guess I could show you everything in the currency exchange, but then I would lose track of what I need to look up. So Sacred Orb, let's see. This one's quite cheap actually. Sacred Orb costs 33 chaos, okay? Then it's Tailoring or Tempering Orb. This one, I think that the Tempering Orb is cheaper. So I'm going to type in Tempering Orb. Okay, 100 chaos for a Tempering Orb. This comes from the Heist mechanic. You're going to get one and you're going to use it on a weapon. Be careful that you do not use it on your rune-smithed weapons, because they are called enchants and they will replace your runecraft, I believe. Okay, so be careful while doing that. Alright, the next one's a Conqueror Exalted Orb. So if we go to Faucets over here, and I type in I want, and I type in Exalted Orb, you'll see that you have Crusaders, Redeemers, Hunters, Warlords, Exalted Orbs. This comes from the Cirrus fight, or his Guardians that you kill to access the Cirrus fights. So these are quite expensive. I'm going to type in Exalted Orb here and see what shows up. Each one is about 400 chaos, so almost 2 divs, I think, if my math is correct. So 2 divs for this. It basically causes your item to get an influence. So this is actually something that I finished when I was crafting my ring over here. You can see that this ring is influenced by the Crusader. So what I did was I bought a I-86 Cerulean ring from someone for a couple chaos, and then I bought the Crusader's Exalted Orb for, I think, 2 divs, and then I ended up just using it on this and crafting it from there. So that is how I did Conqueror Exalted Orb. Veiled Orb, you should already know about this. This is, if you've been watching the series, comes from Katarina. This is how we made most of our money. I would not recommend you doing anything with the Veiled Orb, because it's like 14 divines. It's one of the more expensive currency in this challenge. Instead, if you find a Veiled Orb, sell it and then buy all these other ones instead. Okay? The next one is the Awakener's Orb. This one also drops from Cirrus, so I'll type it in here. You can see that this is worth, it says 5 divines. Oh, okay, maybe it is worth 5 divines. Alright, this is 5 divines, so yeah. I believe this orb is valuable because it fuses 2 items with different influences, allowing you to have double influenced items. I don't really know too much about crafting, guys, so I don't, I just bought it and used it on a trash item and then threw it away. So a little bit of a rip there, but it is what it is. And then the last 2 you could do is you can either pick a Fracturing Orb or... where is it? Orb of Dominance. So I decided with the Fracturing Orb. This comes from the Harbinger mechanic. So Fracturing Orb, you can see here, this one costs 5 divines as well. I actually made one of my wands. I fractured this as a gamble, and it paid off because the fracture I got was like worth 30 divs or something. I have to double check. So Fracturing Orb, if you have an item you think you want to craft, use it wisely. Alright, the last one you need to do is Orb of Conflict. This comes from Maven Invitations and the Maven Fight. This one's actually relatively cheap. Is it really worth 2 div? Okay, this one's worth 2 divines. Prices are just going crazy right now. So, Orb of Conflict, this allows you to upgrade your Eldritch Implicits. I ended up using it for the Boots craft over here. So you can see here that my chance to avoid ailment is exceptional tier. What we did was we got the Grand tier using the Eldritch Ichors, and then we Orb of Conflicted it to get it into exceptional. So that's where I ended up using this. Those are the 6 currency items I recommend that you use. Unless you're a pro crafter, I don't recommend using Veiled Orb, Reflecting Mist, or Mirror Calandra, or Hinakora's Log, okay? Those are like a couple hundred divines versus, a dozen or so. So that is Extravagant equipment. Okay, Inciting Invitations. So this one is a pretty easy one. Okay, so there's many ways of running invitations. So any one of these that you see in the map device, the Forum, the Forgotten, the Feared, the Twisted, the Hidden, the Elder Slayers, all those count towards this challenge. Basically, you witness them using Maven, and then you roll the map to have high quantity, and then you run it and successfully clear it. Now, something that a lot of people don't know is that you can also use the invitations from the red and blue altars. So when you fill this bar up to halfway, you get a crappy invitation that nobody runs ever for nothing. It's not worth a lot, and people usually have tons of this. Let me go find the name of this real quick. I have to go into PoE Ninja and type in invitation. It's called Polaric Invitation. It costs 10 chaos, and the fight takes you roughly 20 seconds or less to do. So that is how I did this. I ended up farming a lot of red altars in this series, and I had a bunch of Polaric Invitations and Incandescent Invitations. I rolled them, I put them in the map, and I just sat here for an hour and busted out some invitations until I had 3,000 complete. Okay, if you haven't run red altars or blue altars, just buy this in bulk from someone else, and it takes no time at all. It's really fast. It's a lot faster than doing it through Maven Witnesses. I guess like just talking about it is a little bit boring, so I will show you how fast this is. This is the Searing Exarch, and of course my build is a little bit more endgamey. This might take a while longer if you are doing it.
Defiance ends here, hatchling.
Alright, so we're gonna start this up.
Incineration.
Okay, I don't want to get hit by that. So I almost phased them, but I ran out of frost bolts to cast, so... Right, we didn't even have to do the ball phase almost. So this is the ball phase, sit here, dodge this, or go to town. Oh, that kind of hurts actually, what the heck. Ugh. Ow, 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 ow. Okay, so now that ball phase is over.
Annihilation.
There it is. Alright, it's done. And that's how long it took us to get whatever the quality on this map is. 58% quantity. So this would have said 58 out of 3,000 done. And the other one, the Polaric Invitation, is a lot easier to do. So very easy challenge to do as long as you have the currency to buy those invitations or you farm them yourself. Alright, Realized Realms. This one is very simple. Unlock the 6-slot map device. So to do that, you need to do a 10-way Maven fight. That'll give you slot number 5. And then you need to do a T17 map. So I think I have footage of this playing right now as I speak. Otherwise, if I don't, here you can look at our T17s. Just run this, kill the boss, and that will give you your 6th slot. And I think I mentioned in the previous video that if you are having trouble doing this, like your first T17, you can use the Scarab of Stability. This will give you more portals on the fight. And then you can use the Scarab of Bisection, which will nullify half the mods on the T17. Right? And you can make sure that you don't run any map effect modifiers on your Atlas tree when you do this, just in case it's too hard for you. Alright. So that one's super easy. Maven's Chisels, this is something that was added to this patch. If I go over here and I type in Maven's Chisel, you can see like we have a different bunch over here. Some of them are really expensive, like 70 chaos a pop. Don't use those. Instead, find the cheapest one. I believe that the Maven's Chisel of Procurement is pretty cheap. This one is 6 chaos right now. I can check the other ones for you. Maybe Avarice? I think Divination should be pretty cheap. Okay, so Divination and Procurement are pretty cheap when you're doing this, okay? So just spend like 50 chaos, buy yourself 10 chisels, and then you will get this complete. Now, there's also another thing you could do. This is something I realized after. I think it's gone for me because I already accepted it. But there is a Keurig mission reward tract where it gives you 20 random Maven chisels. So if I run all the way to the vault over here, one of them should be a chisel reward. Okay, I can't see it because I've taken the rewards, but just open up your Keurig mission, maybe here? Aha! Okay, I got the interface opened. So you can see here that for completing 7 out of 8 Keurig challenges, you get 20 random chisels. Now, they could be Maven chisels, and that's another way you could complete this part of the challenge. Alright, so that is Realized Realms. Okay, challenging competitors. What is this? So this one is related to King's March and the Settlers of Kalgor mechanic. Let's see here. Admiral Valerius. This guy spawns whenever you do shipments, so sometimes your ships get hijacked, and then he will hold your people hostage. You have to do the fight. Don't get hit by the anchor, and don't stand in the watery things because they put a debuff on you called Soak to the Bone. Do it without getting 5 debuff stacks, and you will get this challenge complete. The other one is Sasan. This comes from the mapping runners. I've never seen this. I've played this league for hundreds of hours. I have not seen this once, probably because I don't use the map device in King's March that often. Okay, so this I can't tell you anything about. The other one I can tell you about is the Black Knight. So this is the Starfall crater that you see while mapping. I think I have some footage of that. If I do, I will be playing it. Basically, you have to kill this guy without getting hit by the falling rocks. This is pretty clearly telegraphed. And the hard one to do is killing him without being affected by the Verisium laser. This thing auto-tracks you, and it just instantly tags you and you fail the challenge. You need either really high DPS to kill him before he gets a chance to do the laser phase, or you can cheese it by doing what I did. Get him into the laser phase, and then log out, and then come back and wait for the laser phase to resolve, and it will count as you not getting hit by it. So by doing that, I ended up getting this challenge really easily. It's a bit cheese, I know, but like it's like an auto-tracking beam. Like, I really don't know, man. This crazy challenge. Alright, my friend did fight Sasan. They said that these challenges are easy, so if you encounter Sasan, then, you know, you can get this done there. Alright, we're almost done here, guys. Nightmarish Nemesis. This requires you to do T17 maps. I have some here. So you have to do one of each. There's at least 5. And you have to kill the boss while it is higher than 250% item quantity. So in order to get this, I believe you need to roll the map to have around 140% quality. And then you're going to take every map effect node modifier on your tree. So you can see here that there's a cluster here. There is all these little nodes here in the outer part of the tree. And of course, you have a node here and a node here that gives you more map effect. If you take all of those map effect modifiers and then you run a T17 that is about 140% quality, that will multiply and turn into 250 or higher, and that is how you complete Nightmarish Nemeses. Right? This one, I want to say it was a bit annoying to do because rolling these maps to get 140% quantity it's just not fun. I really don't know what to tell you. T17 suck, man. I don't like it. Okay, that brings us to the next part of the challenge. This is Ubers. So this is the one I thought that I would have a hard time doing. You can see here that we did the Elder, we did the Exarch, we did Cortex, and we did the Shaper. So I'm going to say the easiest one to do here is the Cortex. I didn't even really understand what was going on. Like, you have to fight 2 bosses instead of 1 in each phase. It was quite easy. The Searing Exarch ball phase was quite awful. I died a lot, but the DPS check was not too shabby. And then the Shaper and Elder were pretty fair. I don't remember it giving me a hard time. The Bullet Hell phase is really not as bad as it looks when somebody else is doing it. Right, I'm going to do an entire video where we just do Ubers, so I'll talk more about that then. If you are having a hard time killing Ubers yourself, buy a carry. No shame in that, guys. You want to get your challenges done, and farming currency to get those done is a valid method of acquiring these challenges, okay? I do think it's more fun to farm it yourself, but not everyone has that time or motivation. So here, the Uber Fragment shards, they come from T17s. You need 5 of this to start a Uber fight. You can see here that I have almost a set of each ready to go for the Uber video that we're going to do together. And yeah, there's some that I've never fought before. I know Maven is a tough one. Cirrus is apparently Cancer. We'll find out. We're going to do it and we're going to find out. But really not as hard as I thought it was. And definitely not something that is hard for this build, I would say. So that was Ultimate Usurpers. And then we have our last one here, guys. That is the gear grinding goals. So I decided to take reach level 100, activate Eldritch Altars, or defeat witnessed map bosses. This one, you're just doing altars on your map device, so either red or blue. I recommend red because it's just so profitable when you have nothing to put into your maps. I made so much money out of the Grand Embers. So that was that. Defeat level 83 or higher monsters with at least 4 modifiers. This will just randomly happen as you do endgame maps. Like, as you're doing T16s, you will encounter these monsters, and over time, it'll just auto-complete. Complete T17 maps. This one I really did not like. I thought I would try T17 Atlas strat like Ambush or Harvest or all that other crap. It's just not fun. I really don't know what to tell you guys. I don't find this fun. I think it's an awful, addition to the game. The loot is bloated. Like, it's just so much loot. Like, you just walk around picking it up, even when you have a good loot filter. The map modifiers are annoying. There's like petrification statues. There's the boss hits for like 5 times its damage. It has like, the AoEs, the full screen. You literally cannot dodge it. You have to tank it. There's stupid Maven influences. There's drowning orbs. T17 modifiers, literally the least fun I had playing this character in this series, alright? If they disappeared next league, I would be happy. So what I did, now that I've done ranting about T17s, by the time I had done all these challenges, I had like a tab of T17s. I took my friend, we put on a Scarab of Stability, we put on Scarab of Bisection, and then we went to our Atlas tree. We took Dance of Destruction, so we deal more damage, and we took off all the map effect nodes, and we just sat there and boss rushed T17s for like 2 hours until we had 50 of these complete, right? It was easy, it was tedious, and the reason we did all of those things was so we didn't have to sit there and chaos spam to roll acceptable maps, okay? The other way of doing this, the more profitable way, is to run a T17 Atlas strat, like Ambush. So if you like that kind of stuff, if that's your cup of tea, do it, have fun, it'll auto-complete as you map. So that's that done. So that leaves reach level 100. That's the one I haven't talked about here. For this one, I had a specific Atlas tree that I took. I don't think I have it here anymore. No, I don't. So I'm just going to try and tell you what it was. I took all the Abyss nodes, so you can see Abyss at this part of the tree. I took all of the Abyss nodes, and then I took these Beyond nodes over here. So Endless Tide, this prevents Beyond bosses from spawning. So Beyond is a mechanic that when you kill monsters, more monsters will spawn. And as soon as a boss spawn, Beyond stops spawning in your map. So you take this to make sure the boss never spawns and Beyond just spawns indefinitely. And as you know, Abyss spawns a crap ton of monsters. So you spawn the Abyss, and then the Abyss spawn the monsters, and then the Abyss monsters you kill will spawn Beyond monsters, and it's just tons of monsters on the map. And then I added a Delirium orb into each of these maps to force it to have Delirium. So then we also had the Delirium monsters. It's just tons of monsters in the map. It was a juiced map, and I just sat there grinding Abyss from level 99 to 100. There are Scarabs I recommend that you take for this, so I'm going to show you what those Scarabs are if you decide to do the strat. So that is the Abyss Scarab of Multitudes. Use 2 of these. This will make you spawn 150% more monsters. And then you also want to take Monstrous Lineage. This increases the pack size of the monsters by 40%, so even more monsters. And then, of course, you take all of the map effect node modifiers so that you get a multiplier on the density of monsters in the map. So just tons of monsters, tons of maps, very boring. Not the worst thing I did on this challenge, but yeah, this is my first level 100 in like a decade of playing this game. That's because usually level 99 to 100 is just very boring. So I did it for the challenge. So yeah, another strategy you could do for this is T16 Harbingers. That's what my friend is doing. And I've seen a couple content creators recommend Breach. I know Tribolar Bear said he did Breach to 100 in his videos. PoE Guy also said the same thing. A lot of cool guys doing a lot of cool things. Check them out. Check out their strats, right? Abyss is not the only way of getting to 100. And if you're a complete lazy and rich person, you could just leech 5-way timeless conflicts, right? You can get people to level you while you just sit there. That is also valid. So that brings us to the end of this video. I've tried my best to explain all of this and show you footage where possible. Hopefully you guys appreciate that. I know it was a long one. I know there was a lot of rambling, but this is what I set out to do. My goal with this series was to get a character from start to finish and get 40 out of 40 challenges complete. This is my first time getting 40 out of 40. This is my first time getting 100. And this is also my first time killing the Ubers in Path of Exile. So I'm very happy with how this turned out, and that's not where things end. Next time I see you, whenever that is, we're going to be doing all of the Ubers together, so I'm going to keep filling out these fragments. I need a couple more synthesizing ones, and then that will be the grand finale of the 0 to HIERO series. So until then, I hope you guys have a good one. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon for the finale of the series.